Hi guys, I've been receiving a lot of messages asking if I'm okay here in Hong Kong. Yesterday, November 26th at 2:51 p.m., a huge fire started in the Tai Po area. It's this whole condominium unit called the Wang Court. At around 2:51, a fire started in one of the buildings and quickly spread to the 6-7 other buildings. A total of 2,000 units have been affected. And we know that dozens of people have perished in this fire, including at least one firefighter who came in to rescue people. So it's a very saddening news, and much more people are missing still. So they are launching an investigation as well as looking for survivors, a lot of whom are still in these buildings. 3 people have been invited in for questioning and to do an investigation. 2 of them are directors, and one of them is an owner of a construction company. So if you walk around Hong Kong, you see that a lot of buildings are covered in a type of netting. Usually it's a grayish or in green color, and there's this bamboo scaffolding that they use here instead of the steel one that we are accustomed to in the West. In terms of the netting, there are different type of material. They are to protect the people down below from falling debris from the building during construction, so it's for safety reason. Different building companies can opt for different type of nets, and they vary in cost. So some of them are more flammable than others. So there's been discussion around a fire starting with these type of netting, and then they spread through the scaffolding, which are bamboo. And also there are these type of foam that are used on the windows of buildings, and those can also help spread the fire very quickly as well as the heat, and therefore emitting a lot of smoke, which can be very dangerous in these situations, because when these type of foam and construction material burn, they become very toxic because there's a lot of plastic in it. And as you can see, smoke can become quite dark and black. When you breathe them in, you can pass out within minutes, and sometimes you wouldn't even know that you're passing out because it hit your nervous system so quickly and so suddenly, because the nervous system is not accustomed to dealing with this high concentration of toxic material. When a building is burning, what should you do, and how should you protect yourself and your family? Now, typically when a fire happens in a building, people usually tell you to stay put, which is very concerning. You hear the fire alarm going on, and then there's this announcement coming from the police department and your condo management, and they're telling you to stay put. So you're concerned because you know something is happening in the building, yet they're telling you to stay where you are. So sometimes you have to use your discretion as well. There's this one documentary video of a building in the UK. I think it's called Grenfell, and it's on Netflix. Something similar happened where this 23-story building caught on fire, and the people there were told to stay put. So the residents did not know what to do. They listened to the authority and stayed in their units. But slowly the smoke picked up and went into their rooms, and they cannot contain it. So a lot of people were running around taking refuge in other units which didn't have smoke. And there is this one guy who was in the 23rd floor, and a lot of people start running upward and eventually reaching his unit, and he was keeping the people there safe. However, because it took the firefighters so long to get to them, that they all eventually passed away in that unit. And around an hour or 2 after the fire started in this Grenfell building in the UK, the authorities started telling them that they are able to leave their unit and try to get out as fast as possible. So as you can see, sometimes just because the people who know what they're doing, they tell you what to do, it doesn't mean that is the correct course of action, because they just kind of follow this rigid rule that they have. And sometimes people just have to make the call for themselves and assess the situation. In that same story, there are a few people who were on the 14th floor, and they were told to stay put. And eventually, 3 of them passed away, and one of them tried to escape the window using blankets and towel that were tied together, and he fell out the window. And he did that because, yeah, he's hopeless. No one's coming. He's seeing people just passed out, and right in front of him. So he was very scared and he kind of tried to climb down the window and he didn't make it. After an event like this, I started to realize that living on a high floor is not very preferred because, first of all, you have to pay a premium price to live on the higher floor because of the view. But when these type of events happen, it's incredibly hard to get down to escape. And also, like I said, the heat and the smoke coming upward from the lower floor make it very hot and difficult for firefighters to get up here and get the people out. Also, when they're trying to spray the water hose, it only go up to a certain level, sometimes 10 to I say 15 or so. So if you're on a higher floor, the water would not reach these levels. And even the ladders that they use from the fire truck, it doesn't reach the very high level. So you have to kind of research the area that you're living in, which floor it would actually go to. That is the maximum reach of these ladders. And you kind of want to aim to live around there or lower. And even if you're trying to get out of your unit and run down the stairs, it's much faster. A lot of people don't run down the stairs because they see a lot of black smoke. And yes, it's very dangerous, but in some situation, you just have to be brave and power through it. Because if you stay in your room, eventually the smoke and the fire does come in. And if you run upward, then the fire will catch up to you on the upper high floor as well. Of course, in the best scenarios, firefighter would come in with their equipment and expertise and they'll break down the door and then put a blanket over you and bring you safely outside the building. But there are some cases like the Grenfell building in the UK where people were told to stay put and no one came to them in time and they eventually passed away. So what do you actually have to do when a fire like this breaks out? Well, the first thing you do is check to see if the hallway is safe by touching the doorknob with the back of your hand. If it's cool, you can open it, kind of see if there's any smoke in the hall. But if it's very hot, do not open it because on the other side there can be a huge fire, a flame or something that will blow at you. Or in a different scenario, black smoke can go inside your unit and suffocating you in there. So kind of feel out for the doorknob first before you go outside. And if you see smoke, close the door right away and get some towels, hopefully a wet towel or any type of clothing, and dip them into water and cover the cracks so that the smoke don't get inside your building. Move to a room preferably as far away from the hallway as possible with a window, and call the authorities for help and get a white towel or a t-shirt and wave it outside your window to signal for help. Typically in this situation, you do want to stay low because smoke blow upward and the cleanest air is at the bottom near your floor. And if you're trying to make an escape, get a wet towel and put it over your nose and your mouth, because if the smoke get into your system, it's incredibly dangerous. It can get you sick and you can even pass out on your escape, and that can be very dangerous. In the story that I watched on Netflix about the Grenfell building, a girl was trying to escape down the stairwell and she was saying on her way down, she stepped on numerous bodies. So that would tell you that a lot of people also try to make a run for it on the stairs, but because they was breathing in the smoke, they didn't stay low enough, maybe they panicked, they actually passed out. And imagine, it's pitch dark in the stairwell and you're lying down there. Firefighters would try to rescue people who are running, who are panicking, and probably still alive. So the fact that people have to carry you when you're passed out in the stairwell is incredibly low rate that someone like that can survive. Always try to remain calm and get out of there as quickly as you can with a wet towel over your face, covering your nose and your mouth. Although it is hard to breathe, but it will filter out some of that black smoke, and hopefully you can push through the smoky area and get down to the more clear area downstairs. One thing that you don't want to do in this scenario is run into the elevator. It sounds like a good idea because if you look at the elevator, maybe it looks fine and safe and you think it's going to be faster. However, in this type of situation, the elevator may fail. And also, smoke can come inside the elevator. Perhaps you go down to the floor that you're trying to reach and there's a fire there and it blows right into your face as the elevator doors open. Or you can just get trapped in the elevator because it's stuck in the middle, it's not working, then that's the worst position that you want to be in. When a fire happens, you never want to be touching anything that's unnecessary. You want to crawl down the floor, follow the exit sign, and find the stairwell and just run down without touching too much of the railing and the walls. If you have family with you, try to hold on to each other and then run down together. Because in this type of scenario, it will be very dark. The electricity may go out, so there's going to be no light. A lot of smoke may be coming upward towards you from the lower floor. So you cannot see anything, even if you have a flashlight or your iPhone lights on. It's very hard to see anything. So if you're trying to run away with smaller children, hold on to their hand, because if everyone is running for their own life, you'll soon see that you'll start missing each other. And when you're trying to find each other in the dark like that, when everything is so hectic, it's going to be incredibly hard. Perhaps you don't know if they're behind you or in front of you, and then you start running up and down to look for them. That can turn into a very dangerous situation for yourself and your relatives. So always try to hold on to each other and go down together. If you are stuck in your room, turn off the AC because you don't want the smoke to travel through the vents into your room. Call somebody if you have a phone and tell them exactly which unit you're in so they know when they come and help you. In the story, the Wang food court yesterday, there's a man that came back to his tower and saw his unit on fire, and he ran in to help his pet dog, which is 10 years old. But fire authorities stopped him because in this type of scenario, it's very dangerous for anyone to re-enter the building once they're out. So in these type of cases, you want to alert the authority of who's still inside and which unit they're at to help them. You never want to be running inside, putting everyone at risk. And once you do escape, stay far away from the building because you never know, little debris and this type of scaffolding can fall down on you. And also stay farther away as possible, because even if you're standing 100 meters away, if the building ends up collapsing, the smoke and debris can form this mushroom shape, and if you breathe it in, it's incredibly dangerous. The organizations here in Hong Kong is quite professional. They've been emailing staff and employees and reporting on any cases of any staff member that have been affected by these type of fire, and they offer a line which you can call if you are in distress, and they offer even assistance if you need a place to stay, food and water. This event has been the worst fire since November 19, 1996 in Hong Kong. The Garley building in Kowloon, which took the lives of 41 people, and the result of the investigation was from a welding from an internal renovation. And we don't know what is the cause of this building yet, but we do know that it's under construction, and there may be some involvement of the bamboo scaffolding structure, the netting, or the foam that was placed outside of the windows and the building.